There's no one-size-fits-all approach to creating a successful fundraising strategy and plan.
People are nervous, right? It's a big deal. We're raising $10 million, even if we're raising $1 or $3 million, depending on the size of the org.
Major gift fundraising is not deadline driven. It really is probably the only type of fundraising, along with planned giving, that is not deadline driven.
AI comes on the scene that's affordable, accessible, that can provide insights and personalization at scale.
That's the first core element of this fundraising engine or funnel, is making sure that the top of your funnel, the beginning of your fundraising process, you are in front of the right people.
What do the people we serve need? And how do we open the door to help them get there?
What happens a lot of times is we get this discomfort or this fear, and our brain tells our body to stop.
We can acquire donors and we can automate everything. And that's where I worry, at least personally, around the perils of AI, that it would remove humans from the interaction.
This is the Intentional Fundraiser podcast.
You are working so hard to love on your donors, and you are exhausted. If that sentence hits a little too close to home, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Intentional Fundraiser podcast. I'm your host, Tammy Zonker, and today we are talking about making stewardship personal, scalable, sustainable. This is for you if you are an executive director, development director, major gift fundraiser, or board member who wants donors to feel deeply seen without running your team into the ground. You are not imagining the pressure. Studies show more than half of nonprofits report high stress and burnout among staff, driven by increased workloads and limited resources. At the same time, donors expect more personalized engagement and ongoing communication that shows their impact in a tangible way. So how do you hold those two realities at the same time? Today, we'll walk through 6 parts. The burnout story of doing all the things for everyone. Redefining stewardship as remembered moments, not sheer volume. A clear 3-tier stewardship model and how to assign donors. Examples of light touch automation that still feels human. How to create and use a quarterly stewardship map. A recap and a challenge, so you walk away with a concrete next step. By the end, you'll have 3 clear takeaways. The first is, you do not need to treat every donor the same to treat every donor with care. The second is a simple 3-tier system keeps stewardship personal and sustainable. And the third takeaway is a 90-day map beats a December panic every time. And we will name a few pain points you might be feeling, such as feeling guilt that you are never doing enough for donors, or constant December or fiscal year end panic trying to catch up on stewardship, or staff burnout from trying to personalize every touch for every donor. Let's start with the burnout story. Doing all the things for everyone. Several years ago, I worked with a mid-sized organization in the Midwest. Good people, strong mission. They had about 300 donors who fit their definition of major at different levels. The development team was 4 people, 1 major gift officer, 1 annual fund manager, a part-time events person, and the director of development. They believed good stewardship meant saying yes to everything. For example, every donor got a handwritten note, no matter the gift size. Every donor got invited to every event. Every donor got multiple follow-up emails after every touch point. In their minds, equality meant love. In practice, equality meant exhaustion. By the time December rolled around, they were buried. They were handwriting hundreds of holiday cards, pulling last-minute reports, sending rushed impact updates, and trying to squeeze in stewardship visits, while also closing year-end gifts. They were also trying to keep up with new trends in major gifts, things like personalized donor journeys and tailored experiences for higher value supporters. They cared deeply, and they were worn out. Sound familiar? The problem was not their heart. The problem was their system. Every donor got the same level of labor, even though not every donor needed the same level of labor. Here's where I invite you to shift your definition. Stewardship is not about how many touches you send. Stewardship is about the moments donors remember. Research on donor experience shows that donors stay when they feel appreciated, informed about impact, and connected to the mission in a personal way. They remember three things in particular. First is how they felt. Second is they remember whether the message arrived at a meaningful time. And third is whether the content was relevant to their interests and their gift. That means one thoughtful, well-timed message can matter more than 5 generic emails. Think about your own life. You probably remember a single handwritten note on a hard day more than 10 template emails. So I want you to ask yourself, if donors mainly remember the emotional tone, the timing, and the relevance, what would change if you designed stewardship around those three things? Here's the good news. That shift does not require a bigger team. It requires a smarter structure. Let's talk about the 3-tier model. To move from burnout to sustainability, I use what I call the 3-tier stewardship system. Tier 1, high touch. Tier 2, mid touch. And Tier 3, automated touch. Let's unpack each one. Tier 1, high touch. Tier 1 is your top 25 to 50 relationships. These are not only your biggest donors, they are also those with high potential or high influence. You assign donors to Tier 1 based on current giving level, capacity and potential, longevity plus loyalty, and strategic importance in your community or network. For Tier 1 donors, you plan truly personal moments. Examples include handwritten notes tied to something specific they funded, short personal video messages from you, your CEO, or a program leader, a quick check and text when something relevant happens in the news or in your organization, or invitations to small group briefings, not only big events. Here's the key idea. Tier 1 donors feel like insiders, not spectators. Tier 2, mid-touch. Tier 2 is your loyal core. These are donors who may give at a mid-level or who give consistently over several years. They also may have some potential, but not at the highest level yet. For Tier 2, you focus on structured, segmented communication, such as targeted emails based on interest area. For example, education programs, health services, or advocacy. Occasional small group Zoom briefings. Periodic notes or calls, but not as frequent or customized as Tier 1. They still feel seen, but you are not spending the same level of labor on every touch. And Tier 3, automated touch. Tier 3 is everyone else. New donors, episodic donors, lower level donors who still deserve respect and appreciation. This is where systems save your team. Here you build automated thank you emails for online gifts, automated or template-based quarterly impact updates, tailored by broad segment, and occasional, we have not heard from you in a while, re-engagement messages. Your goal is a baseline of care, not total silence. You meet your obligation to say thank you and show impact without custom work for each individual. You may be asking, how do you assign donors to tiers? You start with 3 simple criteria. The first is annual giving level and potential. Number 2 is longevity and loyalty. And the third criteria is strategic importance. Pull a report from your CRM, sort donors by those 3 lenses. Then sit with your team for 60 minutes and ask, who belongs in our Tier 1 for the next 12 months? That list should only be 25 to 50 names. Who belongs in Tier 2? Write them down as a distinct group. Everyone else goes into Tier 3. You will refine over time, but you need a starting point. Remember, you are not valuing people as humans. You are setting levels of labor and attention so you can serve your mission well. Let's talk about automation, because that word triggers anxiety for many fundraisers. You want to stay human. You do not want donors to feel like they are talking to a robot. The good news is, there are several places where automation supports human connection instead of replacing it. Here are a few examples. Automated thank you receipts. When a donor makes an online gift, your system should immediately send a warm, branded thank you email and receipt. This email does not have to be fancy. Use clear, simple language. Name the program or area when possible. Share one short line about impact. Then, for Tier 1 and some Tier 2 donors, you layer in a personal follow-up within a few days. A call, a note, a video. Another example is automated quarterly impact emails. Create 3 or 4 versions of an impact email, each tied to a core program like education, housing, health, or advocacy. Tag donors in your CRM according to their primary interest. Schedule those emails quarterly. Everyone in that segment gets meaningful updates, stories, and outcomes without you writing each one from scratch. Another example of light touch automation is automated task reminders for personal outreach. This one is a game changer. Set your CRM so that when a donor hits certain triggers, it creates a task for you, like second or third gift within a year, upgrade from one giving band to another, or attendance at an event for the first time. You don't automate the outreach. You automate the reminder. The system taps you on the shoulder. You bring the human voice. Here's one more example of light touch automation. Artificial intelligence as your drafting partner. You can also use AI tools to save time without losing your integrity. Examples include ask AI to produce a first draft of a thank you email, then you customize it for the donor. Ask AI to summarize a long program report into a few donor-friendly bullet points. And ask AI to outline talking points for a stewardship call based on past notes. Artificial intelligence accelerates prep. You still own the relationship. Now, let's talk about your quarterly stewardship map. I define a quarterly stewardship map as a simple 90-day plan for how you will care for your Tier 1 and some Tier 2 donors over the next 3 months. Here's how to build one. The first step is pick your list. Start with your Tier 1 donors. 25 to 50 names. For each donor, write their name in a spreadsheet or a simple table with 3 columns. Month 1, Month 2, Month 3. Step 2 is assign one primary touch per month. You don't need a lot of touches. You need the right touches. For each donor, brainstorm, Month 1, a gratitude touch, a call, a note, a short video. Month 2, an impact touch, a story or update tied to what they care about. And Month 3, an invitation touch, a conversation, a site visit, a small gathering, or a chance to shape the future. You will repeat some elements across donors. That's okay. The personal detail comes in how you reference their giving and interests. The third step is put stewardship blocks on your calendar. A map only works if you have time to act on it. Schedule 2 to 4 stewardship hours on your calendar each week. Tuesday morning, handwritten notes. Thursday afternoon, calls or video messages. One Friday a month, planning your next month of touches. Treat those blocks like donor meetings. You would not cancel a donor visit for email triage. Try not to cancel stewardship blocks either. And the fourth step is use automation and AI to support the plan. Use your CRM to create tasks from your quarterly map. Many systems allow you to bulk, create tasks with due dates, and assign them to team members. Use artificial intelligence to do the following. Turn your bullet point ideas into first draft email language. Draft short scripts for phone calls. And summarize past interactions so you remember context before each touch. You are still the human in the loop. The tools remove friction, not relationship. Remember the burned out team I mentioned at the beginning? Once we implemented the 3-tier stewardship system and a quarterly map, here's what changed. They reduced the number of all donors get this handwritten notes. They gave themselves permission to focus high labor efforts on about 40 donors. They automated standard thank you receipts and quarterly email updates. Within 6 weeks, donor thank you replies tripled. Retention among mid and major donors improved by nearly 11% over the next year. in line with what research shows about the impact of intentional stewardship on retention. Most importantly, staff reported less Sunday night dread. They had a plan instead of a constant sense of being behind. If you are listening while walking or driving, you can think this through in your head. If you are at your desk, grab a pen. Who are your top 25 to 50 donors for the next 12 months? What tier does each belong to? What is one meaningful personal touch you could offer each of your top 10 donors in the next 30 days? You do not need a perfect plan. You need a first plan. Let's recap your 3 big takeaways from this episode. Takeaway 1, stewardship is about remembered moments, not raw volume. Donors stay when they feel appreciated, informed, and connected to your mission in ways that match their interests and their giving. Takeaway 2, a 3-tier stewardship system lets you care for everyone without treating everyone the same. High touch for your top 25 to 50, mid touch for your loyal core, and automated touch for the wider community. And takeaway 3, a 90-day stewardship map protects your time and your team's energy and replaces December panic with a steady, sustainable rhythm. Now, here's your challenge. In the next week, set aside 45 to 60 minutes to do 3 things. First, I want you to draft your first tiered list. Pull your donor report and pick 25 to 50 names for Tier 1. Then identify your Tier 2 and Tier 3 groups. Next, choose 1 quarter. Look at the next 90 days. For your Tier 1 donors, add 1 gratitude touch, 1 impact touch, and 1 invitation touch to a simple spreadsheet. And the third thing I want you to do is block your stewardship hours. Put 2 stewardship blocks on your calendar each week for the next month. Protect those blocks as you would a donor visit. You will not get this perfect the first time, and that's okay. You will learn and refine. Before we close, I want to name those pain points again, because your experience matters. The first is you might feel constant guilt that you are not doing enough. The second pain point is you might feel the December or fiscal year end panic in your body even now. And pain point number 3 is you might see your team stretched thin, doing tasks far beyond their job descriptions, and feel worried about burnout. You are carrying a lot. My hope is that this episode gives you not more to do, but more clarity about what deserves your effort. If this was helpful, share this episode with a colleague, your executive director, or a board member who cares about both donor relationships and staff well-being. Have a conversation about adopting a 3-tier stewardship approach and a quarterly map for your organization. Thank you for the intentional way you show up for your donors, your team, and your mission. Your work matters so much. Keep transforming your fundraising so you can transform the world.
The Intentional Fundraiser podcast is a Fundraising Transformed original. I'm Trent Thompson, executive producer, CMO, and head of community at Fundraising Transformed and the Modern Institute for Charitable Giving. The Intentional Fundraiser podcast has been recognized by FeedSpot as one of the top 80 fundraising podcasts on the web. This recognition means so much to us, and it wouldn't be possible without your incredible support, encouragement, and thoughtful engagement. Every listen, share, and conversation has helped us grow and reach more passionate fundraisers like you. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to review and rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen. For resources mentioned in this episode and to subscribe to our Scaling Major Gifts newsletter, visit fundraisingtransformed.com.